what Rangers would give for an equaliser here. Tavernier takes away by Dembele, back to Tavernier. Here's Hyman! What a save from Gordon! But Clint Hill arrived to put it away! An equaliser for Rangers! And in a season to mostly forget, a moment to cherish!
Okay, folks, good evening and welcome. Listen, this is taking a while to get this guy on. We've eventually got him here. Clint Hill, I'm sure all the Rangers fans loved watching that wee clip there of Clint scoring at the Piggery. And the famous picture of the ball girl giving him dog's abuse when that ball hit the back of the net. So Clint will be on and you can put your questions to him and maybe find out exactly what she said to Clint. Folks, if you're on the Facebook page, please like and share now. Just like and share, get the word out. If you're on Twitter, hit the retweet button and get the word out. Now, listen, folks, nobody has to pay to watch this, but something has happened on Facebook tonight where I've seen people trying to stream off this and set up accounts where you've got to pay to watch and listen to Clint Hill. This is totally free, folks. Don't be just watch it here on this Facebook page. Don't be signing up for any other Facebook. Another thing, folks, next Saturday night, ex-Rangers Zurab Kishnavili will be on. And on Sunday night, for Linfield fans, Goal Machine and the Waterworth will join us. So I know you've all been waiting. There's a massive following here, massive load of questions for the big man coming on. And he's got a beer in his hand and always ready to go. And if I hit my button, the big man should appear now.
Good timing.
Evening, Clint. Evening, Clint. How are you, mate? You okay,
Good
mate?
evening. I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on, pal. I know it's been a while. I know you've had me a few times, but I've got a lot more time on my hands at the moment, it seems.
Yeah, I know, mate. So I was actually going to start the show by saying ex-Ranger and assistant to Joey Barton at Fleetwood, but that changed during the week, Clint. So
yeah, I've got so much time on my hands now.
so what's happened, mate?
Great question. We've gone from obviously playoffs last year, 10th this year, 3 points off the playoffs. Talking about signing new contracts 2 or 3 weeks ago, and to suddenly getting the sack on Monday morning. So the wonderful world of football, mate, it never surprises me.
Because last season, Clint, obviously you and Joey had them in the playoff position. We were heading to Wembley for the playoffs. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we couldn't get that job done. You know, it was probably one game too many for us. We got into the playoffs, but we couldn't quite make the final. And this season, we thought we could maybe at least do as good as we did. At least get into the playoffs. Bit of luck, maybe automatics, but we were kind of on target. But unfortunately, the chairman decided to pull the trigger. So that's where I find myself at the moment, a bit more time on my hands, and finally get to talk to you at last. Yeah,
good man, Clint, good, brilliant. And still trying to obviously get back into football, Clint, as soon as possible again.
Oh, of course, yeah, definitely. It's the only job I want. It's the only job that I've been used to since a young boy. So, definitely actively looking and waiting for the next opportunity to arise.
Yeah. So, Clint, obviously, straight away, the questions are flying in. And obviously, I would just go from Wayne York. Hi, Clint, what was it like to score in the Old Firm derby at Celtic Park? And what do you make of Rangers' progression under Steven Gerrard?
Well, the first one, and obviously to score any time for Rangers was brilliant. I managed to do it a couple of times that season, but to score in such a high-profile game against the enemy, especially at a time when it wasn't great time to maybe be following Rangers at the time. A lot of bad results. So just to kind of get a little bit of sunlight in a bad period was fantastic, you know, and to score that goal. And it's a shame now that we haven't got that many thousands of fans at Old Firm games now, isn't it? Because the atmosphere there was electric. And I still see, obviously, every now and then it comes on Twitter, the goal, and then you get different reactions from phones of fans, and you just see the different celebrations, and it was madness, and it was a great time for me, definitely. Obviously, under Steven Gerrard now, wow, what a turnaround! Obviously, going for the big one. Obviously, I think the tide's changed the most important thing is I think the club have backed him.
Yeah,
they give him the 100% backing. I was lucky enough to go back to Rangers for a game maybe a year ago, and the whole scene behind the scenes has changed. It's so modern. There's new kitchens, there's new player lounges. I believe the training grounds looks a hell of a lot different to the time I was there. So you can see we're giving the full support, which is fantastic, and it's showing on the pitch now.
Yeah. Brilliant, Clint. And Clint, obviously, we talk about that goal, Celtic. I know it's a bit early to be asking, but exactly what did the ball girl say? Shout.
I don't think them words should be coming out of a girl that age. You know what I mean? Obviously, I was wrapped in the net at the time. Obviously, Kenny's jumped on my back. I can see this young girl giving me abuse, but I zoned in at the home end. I just wanted to see their faces, if you know what I mean. And I just remember looking in the net and I was seeing all the Celtic fans, and I could hear the noise from this corner, and I could see their faces, and there was hatred, and they wanted to kill me, you know. And I was like, yes, at last. We put a little bit of something in fear in their eyes for maybe a couple of seconds, which was great.
Yeah. Clint, would you say that's the best atmosphere you ever played in? Oh,
without a shadow, yeah. Without a shadow. I played at Wembley a couple of times in front of 90,000+. But the sheer intensity of the Old Firm is something else, you know. And it's a build-up from 7 to 10 days before the actual game.
Yeah.
You know, obviously the papers get hold of it. You can be walking outside for a coffee. Someone will come up to you and say, "Hey, we need to make sure we do them." And we're talking about a week in advance, you know.
Yeah.
So without a shadow of a doubt, the most intense and best atmosphere that I've played in.
Yeah. So obviously there's a question from Gary Martin. Obviously, what was the highlight of your Rangers? Highlight at Rangers, Clint. Obviously, it's that goal in it. Would you say?
Yeah. Listen, it wasn't a great time in terms of Rangers history. Some of the results were mixed. I think we only finished third that season. I think it was the first year back in the Prem. So it wasn't probably on the highlight reel of many Rangers fans, to be honest with you. But for me personally, just to get to experience that that club, you know, that ethos, a big super club with big fans that travel home and away, was a highlight for me. Not just in terms of playing for Rangers, but my career. I was glad I got to taste it only for a little while. Yeah,
I've got to put this up because I know Wolf Marshall really well. He's asking, Evening Clint, on a scale of 1 to 1,000, how good was the score in that goal, the Chamber of Secrets?
Listen, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. Just looking back at it then before I came on, just the noise at the time. That's what grabbed me the most. You know, it went quiet, but then this big, massive explosion in the corner of noise was just breathtaking. You know, and it's something that I look back on now with obviously with joy.
Yeah,
with joy.
You obviously still follow the Rangers results coming in now, Clint.
Yeah. Of course, definitely. I've watched every Old Firm. Still watch every result. It's brilliant to see where they are, you know, and hopefully they get over the finishing line now, and it'd be one hell of a party at the end of the season.
Yeah. A question from Grant Craig on YouTube. He says, "Were you surprised at the size of the club?"
Yeah. Obviously, looking outside in, you knew it was a big club, but you don't realise until you live it.
Yeah.
You know, once you live playing for a club of that stature and size, especially in that kind of goldfish bowl, which is Glasgow, you know, it's it's massive. It's massive. It's people's livelihoods. It's their life. It's their religion. It's what they it's all they live for, you know. And it was fantastic. It took me a while to get used to. I'm not going to lie. It took me a couple of months to get used to it, but after that, it was an absolute joy.
Yeah. And Robbie Logan, I know Robbie's from Londonderry. What was it like when Rangers approached you to sign for the famous club?
I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a joke at the time.
Yeah.
I thought a joke. I was on holiday. Obviously, just left QPR. I was on holiday at the time. A good friend of mine who became an agent, I think, took Jordan Rossiter to Rangers at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, listen, there's a few whispers that Mark might want to take you to Rangers. And I was like, I was ecstatic, but I couldn't quite believe it, if you know what I mean. So I put the phone down. I was right, okay, let's see. Just calm down though. Don't get too carried away. And then a couple of days later, he rang me and said, listen, it's on. They want you to come up. They want you to talk. If it all goes well, they want you to sign for Rangers. And I was like, whoa, this is fantastic. I was 37. And finally, to get the chance to play for a massive club in Rangers would have been a dream come true. But I had a week left on holiday.
Yeah.
So I was literally lying on my sunbed for a week thinking, oh my God, I just want to get up there now. I want to get up there now. I need to get up there now, get it done before they change their mind.
Brilliant. And here's a compliment to you, Clint. It's from Tom Somerville. Absolute legend. I remember speaking to him with my boy for a good 10 minutes after a game and had David Bates beside him, making sure he took time with the fans, took him under his wing. There you go, Clint. Brilliant.
Thank you very
well done.
Well, that's another big thing, was when obviously you finish the game and you walk towards the car.
Yeah.
You can be there for 45 minutes.
I know.
I've never experienced anything like that in my life.
No.
You literally come out of that door and you walk home most clubs, but you've easily got 1,000 fans there who want to speak to you and sign autographs. So you could be in there another hour. I've never experienced like that in my life,
Well, I have to say, because look at the picture, I stood there for an hour with my 2 daughters to see you too, so I was there as well. Brilliant. But Clint, but not much more about, talk about Rangers later, but going back as a young boy, you started out at Tranmere.
Yeah.
That's where you started. Yeah. Is that at schoolboy level, straight to Tranmere?
Yeah, it would have been. So I left school, managed to get a YTS at the time, which was 2 years, doing all the fun jobs, cleaning boots, cleaning toilets, painting stands, doing all the odd jobs, and learning your trade. And it was a fantastic club to be at, Some big players there. We had Pat Nevin, John Aldridge, Liam O'Brien's. We had so many big players there. And so for me to experience that at such a young age was fantastic. And lucky enough, after the 2 years, I managed to sign pro. So,
right, okay.
So very lucky.
And so moving on, Clint, obviously Tranmere, and then it was Oldham, yeah?
Yeah, signed with my contract run out with Tranmere. I was there for 4 or 5 years, felt I needed a change. Ian Dowie was manager at the time at Oldham. Big plans of going for a promotion from League One, it would have been. So I jumped at the chance. It was a great club. Chairman was backing the manager. We had a great team. And we started really well. I think we did actually finish in the playoffs that year, but I broke my leg after 20 games, so I missed half of the season, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it was a good time.
Yeah, and then I'm moving quickly along here. So then it was Stoke.
Stoke under Tony Pulis. Oldham had financial difficulties. I think the chairman pulled his money towards the end of my first year. So they decided to cash in. I went to Stoke with Tony Pulis, and I had 4 years there. 4 years, but I had a lot of injuries at the time. I only managed to play 80 games.
Right.
80
was that championship?
Yeah, that was championship at the time. So it was a big jump for me. A big club, Stoke, as well. Some real passionate fans.
Yeah.
But I had a horrendous time with injuries: cruciate ligament, ankle injuries. I managed only to play 80 games, I think, in 4 years.
And what was it like playing under Tony Pulis?
Good. He's I don't think he's changed much now, but he's very organised, disciplinarian. You knew what your role was. I wouldn't say it was the prettiest of football, but you were very organised, you were very effective, and you knew your job from day one. So there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah. And then obviously it was on to Crystal Palace. And was that, I'm right in saying, was that Neil Warnock signed you for Crystal Palace?
Yeah, that was Neil. Yeah, good old Neil. What a guy.
So that's where I want to get to. He must have a few stories, Neil Warnock. What?
He's fantastic. You know, like I said, I had a bad time at Stoke. I had a lot of injuries. Kind of lost my edge, lost my love. Neil Warnock took me down to South London, and just reinvigorated me. To be honest with you, played me loads of games, give me the love I needed, treated me like a man, which was great, and trusted me. And I think we got to the playoffs that year as well. I think we were 18th when I went there.
Yeah,
and I think we finished it actually in the playoffs. So it was a hell of a ride. But he's a genius, absolute genius. Man management, different class. I wouldn't say he's tactically great on the training ground or sessions or anything like that, but just the way he handles you as a person and as a human being, he's the best. He's the best, and he's still going as well.
Still going. Because I want to bring this story. It was Tom Cowan that played for Neil Warnock at Huddersfield, and he's done the podcast, and he was telling the story about they couldn't win a game, and Warnock got them in and said, right, I've only done this once, and it was at Notts County, the sherry and egg diet.
Oof.
So they had shot glasses of sherry and a raw egg in it before each game, and they went on a 9-game unbeaten run.
I'm glad to say I've never experienced that, but that's something else. So that was before the game.
That was Huddersfield, yeah. Before each game, they made them drink the sherry and the raw egg. 9 games, Tom Cowan says. And eventually, he says they were just being sick. They had to throw a game just to get the end of it.
Well, he was brilliant. I mean, some of the stories we had at the time where he'd pick his team. Maybe Friday, we'd all go home. Then we'd come back in the next day, and he goes, "Lads, I'm changing the team. I'm changing X player for X player." And we're like, well, Gaffer, why we? You know, we've done all our work. You said we're sound, we're ready to go. He says, "Sharon's had a dream," which is his wife. Sharon's had a dream last night, and she told me that he scores, he plays, and he scores. So I'm changing it. And he only went and frigging scored as well. It came. So it's just madness, but brilliant. He's just fantastic.
Yeah, and then obviously he moves on to. Well, did they want to sign you for QPR?
Yeah. So we went to. He went to QPR in our last year. So we went into administration, Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
We got deducted 10 points. We've gone from being a playoff team to a relegation team in the space of an hour. So we've gone to Sheffield Wednesday, last game of the season, and it's between Crystal Palace and Sheffield Wednesday, who stays up and who goes down. Yeah. At a full house Hillsborough. So there's a lot of pressure on the game.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we managed to get a draw. We stay up. Sheffield Wednesday go down. I was at QPR. My contract runs out. And he says, "Listen, son, do you fancy coming playing for QPR? 2.5 years. Just come do what you do." That's absolute no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. I'll come play for you anyway, Gaffer. No problem at all.
Brilliant. And then obviously, but we're chatting earlier on, you and me about the QPR, and you played in the game where that famous Aguero goal.
Yeah.
In the league with Man City. So talk us through that. So obviously, Man City had won, and you needed. Was it Bolton?
I think Bolton needed to win. I think we needed to. They needed to win. I think it was. So obviously they're playing Stoke away. I think it is Bolton. Obviously we've got Man City away. You were one game away from winning their first Premier League. I think it would have been, wasn't it? I think so.
Yeah.
So the odds were stacked against us, to say the least. But I don't know if you've watched the game. It's just mental. Yeah. It's absolutely mental. I mean, the game just flew by. Absolutely flew by. Find ourselves 1-0 down, thinking, "Oh my God, we just got to hang on here. Hopefully we'll get 1-1 all, 2-1 up." We've not even been out in half. I'd say maybe twice, and we've scored twice. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, Tevez is on, Aguero's on, Balotelli's on, Dzeko's on. And this is the last 5 or 6 minutes, and we're going, "Wow, what it's just like the red arrows. Crosses are coming in. David Silva's bossing the midfield, sliding balls through. There's just no time to think. But for a minute there, they've gone. They've gone like mentally. They've gone for about 4 or 5 minutes after we score.
Yeah,
and you just sense, hey, this could be our day. This. But like I said, then they bring all the big heavies on, like £500 million worth of strikers, and unfortunately, we couldn't get the job done. But I think when Aguero goes through and he scores, if you watch the replay, I'm punching the floor because I think we've blown it.
Yeah, so you don't
know what's happening, but half the team do. So I didn't do this, but half the team knew that we were up, we were sound, we were safe because the game's finished.
Yeah.
The other lads who had to defend against Balotelli, Silva, and all them superstars were too busy to pay any attention to anything else.
Yeah.
But thankfully, 10, 15 seconds after that goal, when one of the lads comes up and says, "Hey, what's wrong with you? We're sound. The game's finished. We stayed up." I'm like, could have told me minutes ago.
Brilliant. And then obviously, after that, I know you had a spell at Forest. Was that under who took you to Forest?
Steve McLaren.
Steve McLaren.
Yeah, Steve McLaren did. Obviously, I think we went up to the Premier League with QPR. I decided to get sent off the first game. I think against Petrov, I think it was. Decided to headbutt him for some stupid frigging reason. So we lose that game, and I think I'm out the door then. So Neil says, "Listen, you're not going to play here for a little bit. Just go on loan and get some games." So I went to Forest for, I think it was only 5 games.
What was Steve McLaren like to play under?
Good. Obviously, I've had him as a coach and as a manager, and he's a very, very good coach. A very good coach. Manager, he's been good for Derby. Not so good at other places, but as an actual coach, he's one of the best I've had.
Yeah. And obviously, if I missed out, I want to talk to you about QPR. About I've never seen a podcast before. I don't think you were best with Mr. Mark Hughes. No. It's a bad one really, because as a player, he was fantastic. I managed to play against him. I think towards the end of his career, he was at Blackburn, and we had a right ding dong, a proper battle. You know, it was one of them like you came off the pitch, you gone, hey, that was a proper game. And then obviously sitting and play, scoring goals, volleys, proper leader of men on the pitch. And then it just came to him as a manager at QPR. At the time, I thought, this is what we need. This is what we need. Someone who's a bit tough, a good disciplinarian, and has got a good name in the game. Yeah. But unfortunately, I got nothing. Got none of that from him. He was a bit stubborn. He was a bit aloof. Didn't really give you any time to speak to you. And some of the signings he made, it was just a disaster, absolute disaster. So it's a shame. Yeah, but see that time at QPR, did you play under Mark Hughes?
He got sent off in that city, didn't he? Yeah. Decided to go berserker on a few people, which there's the story, and that one was when I think Tevez has given him a little dig. Obviously, Joe's given him a little dig back, and that's what the referee's seeing. He decides to send them off. One of the lads has come behind Joe and said, "Listen, you're getting sent off." And he's gone, "No way. What for that?" He's gone, "Yeah, you're going to get sent off. So do us a favour. Try and take one of their players with you." And that's why that's why he's gone. He started kicking people. He's trying to dig Aguero in the back. He's trying to fight Balotelli on the touchline. So he's desperate. He's desperate to try and take someone with you, just to even the teams out. Yeah, brilliant. So I wonder
how Joey got on with Mark Hughes then.
I think at the time during that season it was amicable, and I think obviously that event against City, I think Joe got banned for 7 or 8 games. I think at the time. But he could go abroad and play, but he couldn't stay in England.
Right.
So he decided. So he went to Marseille, I think, didn't he, for a season?
Yeah.
And by the time he came back, Mark Hughes was gone. He was long gone. So yeah, I think they had the falling out after that City game, and they just went their separate ways in the end.
Yeah. And so, who replaced Mark Hughes that time at QPR?
I think we had Redknapp, Harry.
Did you play under Harry Redknapp?
I played a few games. Yeah, played a few. Obviously, we were well gone by then. We were relegation fodder by the time Harry came in. So we went down.
Yeah.
Go on.
So, what was Harry like to play under?
It was good. It was totally different to Mark. Obviously, he's a bubbly character, isn't he?
Yeah.
He'll speak to you. He's a good lad. He's a good man. Obviously, he's got a hell of a reputation in the game. Another one who you probably won't learn a lot tactically, if you know what I mean. He's very old school, a bit like Neil in the way he treats people and the way he speaks to people. He trusts you to do your job. And yeah, you'll probably talk about horse racing and other things like that more than football. So, but we went down, but he brought us back. We went to the playoff final at Wembley the following year. We got promoted. So all good times. And he's a good fella.
All right, so folks, just when I'm on here, I want to give Stuart Finlay a shout out. My mate from Corby, massive Rangers fan. Stuart's been in hospital for about 3 days. Thank God it's not COVID. And he's just got out this evening, and I think he's tuned it in. So Stuart, keep up the fight, mate.
Good
and
luck.
Rangers will do 55, mate. Yeah, Rangers will do it. Yeah, Clint. So, question from Tom Somerville: do you think more ex-professionals should get involved with grassroots football to bring boys through?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I know a lot of players that I've played with who are in different kind of roles within the game. You know, academy coaches, grassroots coaches on a Sunday. I know there's a lot of people doing good work. The thing that you've probably got with the elite boys, the lads who have played in the Premier League for so many years, is they've got different interests.
Yeah.
Different interests now, you know. I think if you go back 30, 40 years from the time 80s, 90s, you probably find a lot more players staying in the game.
Yeah.
Now a lot more money to be made, and there's a lot of different business opportunities and TV and media and everything. So yeah, it's definitely shortening, but there's still a lot of good people in the game who are doing good jobs. Yeah.
Okay. Question from Wolf Marshall: would you like to get back in as a manager, or are you looking to carry on as a number 2, Clint?
Yeah, good question. No, I've enjoyed my role. I've enjoyed my role as number 2 to Joe. It's been fantastic these 2.5 years, and I really have enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. So obviously, I came straight in from playing, and you do as a player, you tend to think you know a lot, but until you've actually stepped in the managers or assistant managers and coaches chair, then you realise that it's a different world. So I'm still learning. Hopefully, we'll go on and get another crack at a good job and go one further, hopefully.
Yeah. There's a question from a QPR fan here on Twitter. Clint, QPR, thoughts on Charlie Austin's return and current relegation battle?
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. I've just literally turned on Twitter about an hour ago and seen a picture of, it looked like Charlie. It was blackened out, but he said he's coming home. So what a signing that is for QPR. He's an absolute legend there. Proper goal scorer, proper number 9. So to see him going back is, I'm sure, give every QPR fan a little bit more faith that they'll stay up this year.
Yeah. I know it's always just rumour, but last summer they talked about Charlie Austin being sniffed by Rangers.
Right, okay. When was this, a couple of years ago, or was this?
That was last summer they were on about Charlie Austin. That was being rumoured, but do you think he could do it up there?
Oh, the fans would have loved him. He's a proper number 9.
Yeah.
Proper all action. A bit old school. You know, put the ball in the box, he'll go win his fair share, and he'll score a lot of headers. Likes to use his body, good hold up play. Yeah. So that's a top signing for QPR. It's great to see him back.
Yeah, good. Robbie says, Clint, would you like Rangers to be part of a Premier League?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm torn because I fear for the Scottish game if Rangers come out of that. You know, if the big two come out of Scottish football, where does that leave all the other clubs? You know, it's a difficult question to answer. There's no doubt in my mind that the Premier League would benefit from having them in the league, without a shadow of a doubt. You know, to the atmosphere, the fans, travel home and away. I'm torn. I'd love to see them, but I'd fear for how the Scottish game would develop and look without a team like Rangers there.
Yeah. Okay. So what's this? Another question from Northern Ireland. Who was the hardest forward to play against when you played for Rangers?
Oof. I know the all-time one, which would be Luis Suarez. He was obviously, it wasn't against Rangers, but he was the best I've ever come across on a football field. He had everything. He was quick, his movement, the way he tricked you, pulling you into little pockets to get in behind you. He was a nasty little sod as well, which was brilliant. You know, he didn't give you a second to breathe. And I think he megged me and then put one in the top corner. So he absolutely ruined me. He ruined me that night. But Rangers was as it wasn't an easy game. There wasn't an easy game because I quickly learned that once you put that blue shirt on and that badge on, you were a target. You were a target for any player, no matter what position. And if you weren't at it, you weren't 100% focused and committed, then you get found out. There was no easy game playing for Rangers. Yeah, because obviously we were talking earlier on. You mean it was Jamie? I think it was Jamie O'Hara said that Fulham could win the Scottish Premier. I think I don't know how many Morettis he's had, that boy, but I think he's speaking absolute nonsense, Sonny. He must want a few. He must want a few more followers, I think, because he's the boy.
Yeah. Question, Clint, what would you give to be back at Ibrox just now?
We're only talking about this before, weren't we? I mean, I was lucky enough to play for such a club, but I was 37. You know, I mean, I was 37 years old, and I'm very grateful I got the opportunity, but it was the wrong time in my career because my powers were pretty much gone. Yeah. So to manage to be there at 27, 28, I would have been some time. And now the lads that are there now, who've got the chance to get 55, oh my God. Yeah. Imagine being there now, playing for that team with the chance to get on that holy grail. Oh, that would be some occasion that. They don't know how lucky they are, the boys.
I know. Don't know how lucky. I know somebody just says, no matter where you go or what you do, Rangers fans took you to their hearts, not for football and ability, but for effort and commitment. There you are, Clint. Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's all I wanted to show, you know. Like I said, I struggled for the first month or two, trying to get to grasp with the team, the way they played, and obviously the expectation. The big thing with the difference is in England, you can go to a tough place and get a draw, and it's looked okay. You go anywhere in Scotland as a Rangers player and get a draw, it's not acceptable. So little things like that took me a while to get to. But what a club! Question for James Robertson: when you played against Linfield in Belfast, were you surprised at the size of the fan base Rangers had outside of Scotland? Yeah, that was brilliant. That was a hell of an occasion. I think that was testimonial, Jimmy Mulgrew's testimonial. Testimonial, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, he was on here last week, Jimmy. Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah, it was a hell of an atmosphere there. It was a good game to play in. But I think the one that stands out was, I think we went to Red Bull Leipzig for freezing. Yeah, we went. There was a friendly in freezing. Freezing. You looked in the corner. I think there was 7,000 Rangers fans there for a friendly. Yeah, was that it? And it was like, wow, what a club! What a club! I think they were marching down the streets, singing, going off. It was like, wow. I'm still defrosting now, Clint. It was that cold. Freezing. It's a hell of a team as well. They were, by the way. They were. I know they were good. One here. If you wanted to skip this, what was Joey Barton's opinion of Rangers after he left? Loves it.
He loves the club. Yeah, he loves the club. There's still a bit in him that it hurts him because he never actually got a chance to do his job, to be honest with you. There's not, I spend obviously a lot of time with him. Yeah. There's not one bad word. There's not one bad word towards that club. We still watch the old firms in the coach's room every now and then. He's gutted that it never went the way that he wanted it to, because he wanted it. You know, he wanted that chance to play for the club. Never got it for whatever reason. But he doesn't speak badly of it. He only has good words to say.
Oh, good. That's good. Obviously, like, same again, question from Ed McCann. I know we had, so I'm putting the question up. Clint, did you ever think or know Rangers were as big as they are?
I know now, but no, not at the time. Not at the time. Obviously, like I said, watching the club from outside in, you knew it was a big club. Watching old firm games, the glory years, the teams, the Gascoignes, Laudrups and all them. But you don't realise until you actually play for it how big it is. And thankfully, I got the opportunity to live it, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Wolf Marshall asked, do you think apprenticeships or YTS type schemes would be better grounding for young players today?
Good question. Very good question. Yeah. I think, listen, there's a lot of goodness. There's a lot of good things that have happened. And I don't want to sound old school, one of them old school pros, but you do need a bit of that. You need a bit of that old school mentality. There was a great saying. People are saying that old school, it's the right school. Yeah, it shouldn't be called the old school. It's the right school. Yeah, because you get a hell of a grounding from experienced little things as a YTS player. And people say, well, you're only cleaning boots and cleaning toilets or the stands or painting walls, but it makes you appreciate it more. It makes you appreciate being a footballer more by doing the hard yards. Doing the hard yards. I think now a lot of people get a lot of things too easy. And does it really matter to them as much? I don't know. know. So yeah, there's definitely a place for it. Definitely a place for it.
Yeah. Okay. A question from Andy Finlay. Who was Clint's favourite centre half pairing with? And who would he have loved to play alongside in his career? Love Dundon spelled the chairs, and he'll always be a Rangers legend, great lad. So,
favourite centre half pairing back in the day. My dad always talked about Tommy Smith. Obviously, I was a bit young then, but he's seen a lot of videos of him. My dad sat me down and we went through a few videos, and that's probably why I've got about 25 red cards in my career. But then we went to Liverpool one day, and he said, "Just watch this number." I think it was number 6 at the time. I think it was Alan Hansen. He said, "Just watch Alan Hansen all game." So I studied him and watched him, and he was an absolute poetry in motion. Didn't break sweat. Didn't look like he was trying. Didn't look like he was sprinting anywhere. It was just in control of everything. Obviously, I didn't turn out that way, but he was a hell of a player to watch. So he'd be my first kind of schooling, if you know what I mean, as a young boy. But then you go on to the greats, Baresi. What a player Baresi was. Yeah. He was probably one of my all-time favourites, him. Yeah.
Okay. Folks, if you're on the Facebook, please like and share. And if you're on the Twitter, retweet, please. I want to see these likes and shares going. Right, here's a really good question, Clint. Who was the best goalie you played in front of, and who was the best you wish you had played in front of?
Wow. Who was the best goalie you played in front of? Difficult. As a young, we had Steve Simonson, who played for Everton, came through the YTS with me, was a good player. I think he played for Rangers at the time. Simon.
Yeah.
I don't know. He came through the YTS with me at Tranmere. Paddy Kenny was a great goalkeeper, proper old school character as well. Yeah, loved the drink, loved the social. One hell of a goalkeeper. Obviously, I've got to experience Rob Green as well. Yeah, Green was another great goalkeeper, England international. Julio Cesar, remember Julio Cesar?
Yeah, that's right.
Legend. QPR. He came to QPR. Man, I don't know how. I don't think we've seen the best of Julio, but just for a stature of a name, he has to be up there. But I think Paddy Kenny. I think got to give it Paddy Kenny. He's had some good times. We had 25 clean sheets that season. We went up to the Premier League, and he was good on and off the pitch.
What, he liked the beer, did he?
Oh yeah. Well, we all did. We played hard. We played hard and we worked hard. So
good.
The right way.
So at Rangers, then, who did you go for a pint with?
Difficult. It was a very young group.
Yeah.
When I arrived. So probably say Joe Garner. Me and him got on very well. Very well. We had a good fight out, me and Joe. But it was weird because I didn't, because Glasgow's such a goldfish bowl and everyone knows what you're doing. Yeah. I very rarely ventured out into town. Bar 29, I think a couple of times with Joe. And the little moments we did have, we had a good blast.
Yeah, good.
Just don't get stuck in around with him because he does go heavy. I think we had 25 vodka Red Bulls lined up at one point, which is not a good mix for any person.
No. Fair play, Clint. So for me and Peck, did Davy Weir pass on any of his defensive knowledge to you, even at the ripe age of 37?
Well, what a great guy, Davy. A lot of time for him. Hell of a player as well. Proper legend at Rangers. So to get the chance to work with him on a day-to-day basis was very good for me. Obviously, I was 37 as well, so I was an old pro, but I still learned quite a lot off him. He was a very calming influence. He wasn't much of a shouter or an aggressor in any way. He was very calm. He'd pull you aside and he'd talk to you very calmly, and he'd give you good advice. Yeah. So I enjoyed my time with him.
Yeah. And so, question is, thoughts on Mark Warburton as manager?
Totally. I'm not going to be harsh on Mark because I don't think you can. Obviously, I've come out of playing. I've got to experience being on this side, and I know all the pressures and the decisions you have to make on a daily basis and stuff like that. It's hard. It is hard. My problem with Mark was there was no plan B.
Right.
You know, he knows his system. He knows the way he wants to play, and that is fantastic because a lot of coaches don't. So I tip my hat to him because he's already ahead of a lot of people. But there's no plan B when plan A ain't working and teams have figured you out a little bit. Yeah. We need to, you need to mix your style of play up. You need to maybe change formation. You maybe need to bring on another centre forward and go a little bit more direct. I don't know. And I never felt we had that at the time at Rangers. It was all passing 800, 900 passes and waiting for that opportunity. And sometimes it didn't come along. So I just thought we needed something different at certain moments in the game.
Yeah.
Clint, done well.
Obviously, you must be delighted to see how Tav's performing now.
Oh yeah, he's flying. He is absolutely flying. Obviously, you knew Tav going forward down the wing, delivering crosses. You knew that was a big strength of his. It was the other side that maybe needed a little bit more work on in terms of his defensive positioning and the way he was aggression in his defending. But he seems to have corrected a hell of a lot parts of his game, especially the defensive side now. When there's only 5 goals conceded, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. The back four's flying, and Tav's kind of shored up that side and got better going the other way. So I think Steven Gerrard's been fantastic for him. Yeah.
Okay. A question from Billy Peacock. How good did it feel to have fans down to Carlisle supporting you, even though you had left?
This was mad. This obviously I went to Carlisle. I knew the manager Keith Curl, and he said, "Listen, just come play, see your final year out, and just enjoy yourself." And it was a great club to go and live my final year out. But then all of a sudden, I start seeing 3-4 Rangers fans maybe on a Saturday for a home game. Then it turned into 10, 15, 20. and they were going into hospitality at Carlisle and having meals and drinks, and the Germans going, "Hey, these are great fans, these, aren't they?" I bet you think they are. They're going into hospitality, getting meals, drinks. Then you'd be playing a game of footy on a Saturday, and you see 25, 30 fans in the ground singing your name, and you're like, just brilliant, man. It's just something you just don't expect, do you? And that was throughout the whole year. It was fantastic. Great set, man.
Clint, obviously, Neil McKaig asks, how does the Ibrox marble staircase rank with stadiums you visited down south?
Proper stadium. I remember I never got the opportunity. When I signed, I didn't sign it at Ibrox. I went straight to the training ground, so I never got to see the actual stadium. Obviously the trophies and everything. So I think I only got to see Ibrox for the first game of the season, which I think was the League Cup game. So I'm driving in, because you drive your car down to the side of the pitch and they put it away. And I was like, freaking hell, I was there. I was taking photos, videos, everything as I was driving in. Then you walk in and it's the old panelling, and the marble staircase, and you got the legends all on the wall. Yeah, I mean the Hall of Famers, and you're like, this is proper. The smell of it, everything was just. Everyone was in a shirt and tie. It was just proper. Proper. That's all you can say. It was proper football club.
Yeah, right. And it's obviously from John Graham. What did Jimmy Bell say to you after you scored against them lot? Jimmy Bell.
Jimmy. I don't. He probably still didn't smile, Jimmy. He probably never still. What a guy Jimmy is. Proper institutional at football club, isn't he? The proper cornerstone of it. Who bloody hell, he gives you. He tells you how it is. He tells you how it is. If you think you've played well and you come in a little bit too cocksure of yourself, then he'll put you back right in your place. He keeps the standards high in and around that dressing room for sure.
Brilliant. Question from Dave McDonald. I probably know the answer to this already. Who was the biggest Rangers fan in the dressing room?
At my time there would have been Andy. Would have been Andy.
Andy Halliday.
It would have been, yeah. But obviously, there was a few lads there, but Andy Halliday was the biggest. You could just see the smile on his face every day, you know. Imagine being a supporter and you're living your dream playing for your club. Nothing better than that. Nothing better than that. He loved every minute of it.
Yeah, good. Question from Mark Anderson. Clint, we know the SPL isn't the greatest standard out with Rangers and Celtic, but do you think some people down south are a bit deluded on the size of Rangers and Celtic?
We know that the SPL isn't a great standard out with Rangers and Celtic, but do you think some people down south? The standard's a hell of a lot better than people give it credit for. And like I said to you, once you put that shirt on, then you're not playing against a St Mirren or a Kilmarnock player that plays against a Motherwell player. You know, they're playing against Rangers, so you're a target. So their whole week, their whole 2 weeks is built for that game, because the amount of times that you probably get a draw against Rangers, the following week they get pumped 4-0. So it's everything into that game. So it's tough, because once you put the shirt on, you're a target. The player you're playing against raises his game 10, 20, 30%, and it's difficult. It is difficult. So I'm not. Yeah, I don't think the standard is as bad as people make out. It's proper football.
Yeah. And obviously, Clint, tomorrow Rangers go to Aberdeen. Tough game for Rangers. You've played up there a few times yourself. Hard place to go. Yeah,
it is. I don't see it. I don't see it as much as a problem for them now, to be honest with you, because I think Rangers are on a different stratosphere to definitely the team I played with, but in terms of this season as well. So going to Aberdeen, I don't see as big as a problem as maybe it was a couple of years ago. I just think that the mentality, the focus, and the relentlessness of the team is too strong for Aberdeen.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
hopefully. Hopefully, mate, because I know Aberdeen about to kick us off the park.
that's it. I think Rangers can deal with that. Yeah. I just think they can have a fight. They can play football. They've got the big lad up top now, Whitton, as well, if they want to go a bit more direct. They've got strength on the bench. So, listen, I don't like getting ahead of myself, but if they just keep that positive and that mentality, then it's theirs this season. No shadow of a doubt. Yeah,
it's always a bit of a bad power play for us to go, you know.
Yeah, I think maybe because there's no fans now as well, which football's rubbish. Football's rubbish without fans. It is. It's totally different. I mean, I'm on the sideline now, and it's totally different. So as a player, maybe certain players lose a little bit of 0.5%, 2% because there's no fans. They can't quite get up for that game.
Yeah, obviously, Clint, you've been watching the Rangers. Do you think Steven Gerrard needs to bring anybody in?
It's difficult because he's got such a big squad. It's a tough one because you always want to strengthen when you're doing well. I think as well, you know, just to keep that team ethos going, you know, and to keep people on the toes. But I think the squad's that strong, and it seems to be in that right momentum. You know, everything's pushing forward, everyone's going in the same way, the same direction. I don't think they need to. I don't think they need to sell. So I just think it's just ticking over and keeping the lads focused and the mentality on fire. I think there's no mid break, is there? Winter break. I don't think they're going to Dubai, which is good. No. So I'm hoping that they're just going to keep ticking over week by week.
Yeah. Okay. Now here's one question for you. Clint, was putting on the Rangers jersey the heaviest one you have felt at any club shirt?
Good question. Yeah. I think it is. It is because of the expectation of people who've supported that club for a hell of a long time through some big trophies, some big times in their history, some outstanding players as well. When you think back, who have wore that jersey, so it does come with a bit of pressure, but I don't think that should change. I think I said at the time, it took me a while to get used to it. I made a conscious decision of saying, hey, you can't be like them. It's unrealistic. You can't be like these other players who've come here and lifted trophies and walked on fresh air. You can't do that. So you've just got to, every week, every day in training, you just got to bring what you bring. Yeah. And hopefully that's enough. Yeah. And as soon as I did that, and as soon as I changed that mindset of mine, then I started to enjoy it a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah, expectations should never change. Definitely not.
Yeah. A question from me, Impact. Did you envisage James Tavernier becoming Rangers captain?
No, I didn't. I didn't see it at the time. Tav was a good player, a bit of a joker around the place as well. You know what I mean? He was quite lively. I didn't see him as captain material, and that's no disrespect to him. I didn't see him kind of doing mad team talks or getting lads together, you know, like most leaders and captains do. Yeah. But I've been in this game long enough to know that leaders come in so many different shapes and forms, you know. And he's certainly leading by example now by his performances on a weekly basis with goals, assists, and clean sheets. So fair play to him. Fair play to him.
Yeah. And Jim Inglis asks, who was the best and worst at training at Rangers in your time?
Oh, who's the best and worst? God. Oof. Tell you, we probably only got a few sessions at him. Was young Gilmore, who's gone to Chelsea. He trained with us a couple of times, and you could tell he was something special.
Yeah,
you could tell he was going to be something special. We only got maybe a little glimpse of him at the time, but you could tell he was going to be a top player. Kenny Miller, every day, leading the way by example, showing you how to represent the club. You know, the behaviours, the commitment, and everything on a daily basis. He was definitely up there. The worst. Don't know. The worst is it's a hard one there. Let's give it Josh. Not said anything about Josh tonight, have I? So let's give it Josh for a little bit.
Just as you say, Josh Witness, do you think Josh has made a mistake leaving Rangers?
I think he would accept that. Yeah, I know. Speaking to him maybe a year ago, he would love to have stayed there. Yeah, I think so.
It was his choice to go, but wasn't it, Clint?
I don't know. I don't know the full story. I think there was maybe a little bit of something from the club that they needed to get some money in for him. I don't know, but he definitely looks back at that time and thinks, "Oh, I'd love to have stayed maybe just a little bit longer," especially now with the way the club's going.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, Clint. I've got some other questions here. There's some questions I can't ask, folks.
Oh, no, I was going to say. Must be a few.
Yeah. So, who was the biggest Joker character you've played with in your whole career?
Whoa, my whole career, God. I've had everyone says what was your best club? It's not necessarily the club. It's the dressing room.
Yeah.
What's your best dressing room, really, isn't it? Because that's where we as players spend all our lives, or in dressing room. And I've had some crackers. I've had some really good ones. Crystal Palace, when I first went there, was fantastic. Some real characters in there. QPR, the first couple of years. Bradley Orr, Jamie Mackey, just an absolute legend of a boy. Absolute spaceman, but just a legend. You know, he's just full of life. Practical jokes every day, but then go on the training ground and give his absolute all. So I'd probably say he'd definitely be my number one. Jamie Mackey, hell of a lad.
Jamie Mackey.
He's got a hell of a party trick, but I can't quite say it on here.
Right, folks, keep the questions coming in, folks. We'll take another few and then we'll have to call it night. But some of these questions I can't put up.
Oh, you're joking.
Not questions.
What have I been up to?
Some of the comments I can't.
You'll have to tell me when we come off air, mate.
When did the penny drop? How big the club you had joined?
Penny, how big a club you had joined? Probably after the first game. Walking out, 50-odd thousand fans there. I think it was the first game back in the Premier League. Might have been Hamilton, I think. I think we drew 1-1. And the crowd weren't happy. They weren't happy because of a draw at home. And that made me realise that, this club doesn't mess about. These fans ain't messing about. They want success and they want it now. So I think straight from there, I knew.
Yeah. So you knew straight away, yeah?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely after that first game.
Right, well, Mark...
You've been speaking to my wife.
He thinks you look younger now, Clint, huh?
Must this filter. Have you got, what kind of filter we're using on here, mate? I don't know.
No filter on here, mate. No. Right, so Nico Crancher, Clint, we got him too late at Rangers, but how good was Crancher?
Top player, a proper top player. One of the you have levels of players in football, really, and he's up there in that elite kind of category, if you know what I mean. Top end, top footballer. Unfortunately, got to Rangers and just had bad luck with injuries, hamstring, cruciate. There was no one more desperate to do well than Nico. Unfortunately, he just couldn't get going, and I think Rangers only really got to see a glimpse of what he could do. Yeah, which is a shame. Yeah, he's a hell of a player, hell of a man as well. Hell of a man.
Does he like a drink?
He likes a drink. Likes a cigarette.
Yeah.
Likes a nice meal. So he likes the finer things in life, doesn't he, Cole?
Does he? All right. Here's one for you here, Clint. I'll let you read that yourself.
Oh, Jesus. I don't think you would have scored many. That's brilliant.
All right. So,
great. Thank you.
Obviously, question from James McNeil. Is Rangers the highlight of your career? Will you always be a Rangers fan now, Clint?
Is a highlight. It's definitely up there. It's definitely up there because, like I said, I've played for some big clubs down here. Obviously, Rangers are probably on a different level in terms of the monster that they are. The hell of a club. Definitely a highlight for me to play a little part of my career there towards the end. Oh God, would you? Yeah, I'm a Rangers fan. Of course I am. Yeah, that's not going to change. That's not going to change now. Once you play for the club, once you've lived it, once you've experienced it, you can't help but feel that you're a part of it, and I'll always be a Rangers fan without a shadow of it.
Brilliant, Clint. Question from
season.
Graham Kerr. Thoughts on VAR, for or against?
Left a tough one here. VAR. I'm for it. It's how we use it. It's how we use it. Are we? I think we need some clear rules, clear lines of how we actually use VAR. Because if we're going off someone's kneecap being offside, or his elbow, or his earlobe, or something like that, then the game's on, hasn't it? So I think there's definitely benefits for VAR. It's how it's being interpreted that is the chaos. So it's the human side of it that's the chaos for me. Yeah. Once we clear that up and have clear rules of how we use it and what it's for, then I think it will run smoothly as. But at the minute, I don't think anybody quite knows what the hell is going on when the referee has a look at a monitor.
Yeah. And cheers for the question, Fraser McCarthy. I know Fraser well. He says, Gary, do you always drink wine out of a goldfish bowl? Well,
I was going to say, is the camera? Is it like how close the camera is there? Or what? It is. It's fair. I've only got a small glass, so
we better refill it then, wouldn't you?
Experience, you see, you know how long you're going to be here, so you have a big glass. I like that.
Yeah. So, question from we'll take a couple of work and then we'll call it night. Mark Anderson, sorry if this has already been asked. Where would this current Rangers team finish in the Premier League? And also, what do you think of a possible European League, Rangers, Celtic, Holland, Belgium, etc.?
Where would this current Rangers team finish in the Premier League? Is a tough one. It is a tough one. That the Premier League is a strong league. There's no doubt in my mind that it'll be in that kind of top half, definitely. If the fans were back in the stadium, maybe higher. But I think it is a tough league, the Premier League. I don't think there'd be in any kind of relegation trouble at all. But I think if they're in there every year consistently and they get the money and they invest it right, then there's no reason why it can't be a force in the Premier League over time.
Well, it's obviously, we were chatting earlier on about Mr. O'Hara saying about Fulham winning the Scottish Premier League. Well, I would be saying to him, if Fulham were playing in Scotland with the budget Rangers get.
Exactly. So that's it. So if Rangers were in the Premier League for 3-4 years with all the money that generates and the power of Rangers in terms of recruiting players because of the club, the prestige of the club, then who knows where it would go. It'd definitely be one of the forces over maybe 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. Question from James McNichol. Would you come back to Rangers as a coach if you had the chance, Clint?
Yeah, I don't see why not. If the chance ever did come up, then I'd definitely consider it. I know there's a few ex-players there at the moment, so it's always good to have ex-players involved in your football club. So I'd never ever say never to Rangers, definitely not. And if the chance did come, then I would consider it 100%.
Yeah. Jim McDonald says, if Rangers won 55 this season, how are you going to celebrate?
Well, that would definitely not be empty. I know. That would definitely not be empty for all night. I know that.
And it's been answered by Robert Kenny. Hopefully, with us at West London Loyal Rangers Supporters Club, Clint's more than welcome.
Brilliant, brilliant. There's going to be some party, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't. It's going to be brilliant because there's no more. There's no fans who deserve it more. Been through a hell of a lot the last 10 years. They've had to put up with players like me turning up and playing at the football club. So yeah, it's going to be one hell of a party, man. Just get the job done.
Right. Okay. We'll give you one last question, Clint, because I know you want to get onto your beer. How much would you value current players, i.e. Morelos and Kamara, except in today's market?
Kamara was only 50 grand, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Wow. Great bit of business. So listen, they've already made millions more on him alone. Just by the way he's played the last couple of years. So they've made a hell of an investment on him. Morelos, he's a frustrating one, Morelos, isn't he? He's a hell of a player, a nuisance on his day, and then just seems to do some crazy stuff and go the other way. But that's why we love him, I suppose. Yeah. But he's a proven goal scorer. I can't put a price on them, but Kamara, 50 grand, you've made millions on him already. So that's one hell of an investment. One hell of an investment. Would you
fancy playing against Morelos for a game, Clint?
No, it'd be a good fight. I think we both get sent off, to be honest.
You think so?
He's when he's on it, he's a handful, and he's a very strong, integral part of the team when he's on fire. He's been a good man.
Well, I will just leave this as the last comment. It says, you will forever be a Rangers legend, Clint. Thank you. Now it's time to celebrate with us, the fans, as a fan.
I will be. No, don't you worry about that. I will be. We'll have to. I just hope all this nonsense as COVID's out the way and we can all celebrate properly.
Yeah, obviously you'll have to come up the road again.
Oh, right, definitely. I'll definitely try and make my way up there and have a great session on it. No problem at all.
Because you obviously you played in that Legends game, didn't you? You got lucky enough to play with Steven Gerrard, huh?
Oh, I know. Yeah, somehow I managed to get up there. Yeah, I think I think they needed a bit of legs on the pitch. Was the first thing anybody said that about me. But yeah, that was great. It was great to be back and got to share a dressing room with some of them legends as well.
Yeah.
It was a hell of an experience. It was brilliant.
Yeah. Well, Clint, I've got the call tonight, mate. Fantastic, mate. Loved having you on.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Sorry it's so long, mate.
Yeah, no problem, mate. Some great questions and some questions we couldn't read out. But,
we'll have a chat after this and see what we were.
All right, Clint. Thanks very much, mate. You stay on. I'll come back to you, okay?
Cheers guys.
Bye-bye.
All the best, everyone. Take care.
Bye. Okay, folks. So that is Clint Hill. I hope you all enjoyed it. What I need you all to do now, folks, is like and share on the Facebook, on the Twitter, hit the retweet button. I'm sorry I couldn't get through all the questions. Obviously, the questions are still coming in. There's just too many, folks. And obviously, everybody wants to ask Clint about the goal Celtic, about what the ball girl said, but I think he answered it anyway. Remember, folks, next Saturday night, it is Zurab Kishnavili. And then on Sunday, for Linfield fans, Andy Waterworth will be on. And I've also spoken to Sebastian Rosenthal. So Seb will be on soon as well, folks. And we'll see who else we can get for these podcasts. But I hope you enjoyed it, folks. And let's hope Rangers get 3 points tomorrow. Okay, folks, good night.